Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. Coming back at you with some Ryzeal Mitsurugi. Definitely felt that itch to play another Mitsurugi deck, and as cool as the Fiendsmith variant is, I gotta say, I really just like the Ryzeal variant a lot more. So here we are going to be starting with actually a going first game. Despite the fact that we lost the coin flip, our opponent has selected going first. They're on a going second hero deck, which is quite unique, but I'll definitely take it if they want to let me go first here. So we're going to begin with normal summon Aramasa. It's going to let us add the Habakiri. We're going to use Habakiri's effect to pull out the Saji. Saji's going to activate. We're going to grab the Mitsurugi Ritual here. Love already having the prayers in my hand in a situation like this. Well, in any situation, really. But especially now that prayers is limited, it's nice not to have to use your search on it. Because, I mean, when it was at 3, you would still search prayers, but you'd also get to use it during your turn 1. Now, I think it's a lot better to kind of hold prayers on turn 1, unless you absolutely need to, and save it for disruption on your opponent's turn. But in any case, now that we opened the prayers, we can also easily search out the Great Purification, because sometimes you have to kind of choose between the two, but not here. Alright, so now we're going to pivot into some of our Ryzeal plays by using the Dragalucian. I should say, also, I'm using the build from Nightfall TCG, who got top 10 in rating duels last season with this exact list. So, shout out to Nightfall TCG. And as you can see, we're using the Dragalucian for the 7th Tachyon, as well as pivoting into the number 38. Gonna put back Node Ryzeal with 7th Tachyon, because we'll get to search it out anyway. And we have an extra level 4, thanks to the Ice Ryzeal in hand. If I didn't have the Ice Ryzeal in hand, then I think I would have needed to have used Prayers earlier, because Prayers would have revived one of our level 4 Mitsurugi monsters, which at that point in the combo I would have used in conjunction with the X in order to make the duo drive. But again, because we opened as well as we did, we get to save our Mitsurugi Prayers. Gonna use duo drive to fetch Sword and Node Ryzeal. Sword's gonna grab an extra ice for another time. Node's gonna send away the duo drive and revive X. And now we're gonna overlay all 3 into the detonator. Now Detonator gets to activate, picking up the Aggregator, and we're going to set to Impasse. Doesn't seem like that impactful of an end board, but not only do we have a format Detonator with the Aggregator negate, we also have the spell negate with Hope Harbinger, and of course we can revive Murakumo off prayers, wipe their board, and get an Omni negate on top of that. So that's what? 2 negates, a board wipe, as well as, 3 negates, a board wipe, and then 4 individual pops as well. Definitely a very, very solid end board. Alright, opponent's going to draw for turn. They're going to throw down the E emergency call, grabbing a Stratos. I'm going to let that resolve off the Hope Harbinger. Not negating just yet, because I know they have much better spell cards to negate. Yeah, I don't really care about them establishing their board here. I'm going to start using Detonator here in a second to start picking apart this board. Well, actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use Detonator to target the Vision Hero Increase. Now, granted, because this card is treated as a continuous trap card, its ability to summon itself is actually a quick effect. But I actually knew that. And I wanted them to do this because I want them to establish their board, and then I'm going to wipe it with the Murakumo here. So that looked like I was misplaying with Detonator, but again, what I was really doing was forcing them to use all of their effects now, so that way I could use the Murakumo board wipe on the next chain link right here. Now, unfortunately, because it's my opponent's turn, Murakumo is going to be chain link 2, meaning that increases monster it summons, Vion does still get to come out here. However, we're going to use Great Purification to both negate and destroy Vion. And if you're ever looking for a choke point against Hero, Vion is one of the best ones. If you can stop both of this card's effects from resolving, then your Hero opponent will have a much more difficult time actually making plays. Alright, so Murakumo gets to search out the Ritual and then revive. Keep in mind, we still have our spell negate with the Hope Harbinger as well, and I'm going to use that right now as my opponent tries to activate the Miracle Fusion. I was either waiting for this Polymerization or Fusion Destiny to activate Hope Harbinger's effect. They did end up having the Fusion Destiny as well. I'm going to make them discard a card with the Murakumo effect to be able to use it, but they end up discarding the Evil Hero Necro Shade, whatever it's called. Sinister Necron. So, not exactly ideal for me, but I'm not really scared of whatever Evil Hero they summon. Alright, so they're going to revive Denier, I'm going to activate Detonator, they're going to chain DPE, and I'm actually going to chain Detonator yet again on the DPE this time. So now what's going to happen is Detonator will pop, DPE resolves, Detonator protects itself with the last material, and now they don't have any monsters. Now the DPE gets to revive on my turn, but I'm not really concerned about that, because I can make them get rid of their last card with the Murakumo if they try to activate, and on top of that, one Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer is not going to be able to stop me from popping off here. I'm going to activate Ritual, tribute the Murakumo, summoning out the Futsu no Mitama. And now Murakumo gets to activate, getting the Magatama, and then special summoning itself. So now I'm going to activate the board wipe effect and basically force them to use their DPE. But then, again, I can not only make them discard their last card, it doesn't matter if they do, because literally no matter what they destroy here, I still have lethal on board. And there we go. Easy peasy. Oh, Increase gets to put itself back in the spell trap. That doesn't matter. They don't have a hero monster tribute to summon it. So there we go. Yeah, going second hero. Not something I was expecting, but I definitely do not mind the ability to establish the turn 1 board and then pop off with it. So there's our first game. Let's go ahead and go into the next one. All right, this time we're actually going second against hero when we lose the coin flip. Yeah, I've been running into so many hero decks in the past couple of months, but that's because lately I've been in like Plat and Diamond instead of Diamond and Master. I don't know, I've just been so much busier IRL lately that I don't have the time to like sit down and really grind ranks the way I used to. But also by the same token, I don't really want to. Okay, so here, oh my god, we're gonna brutalize this hero player. They begin with E, Emergency Call, and not only do we get to fire off our Shifter, but also the Droll and Mockbird. You do have to do it in that order, by the way. Shifter can only be used when there are no cards in the graveyard, and Droll also says if a card is added, so it's not a when effect, meaning you can do it later in the chain link after a card has been searched. So, yeah, getting to resolve both Shifter and Droll against hero, brutal. Absolutely brutal. But yeah, I'm kind of at a point with Master Duel Ranked Ladder right now, after playing it for, what, 4.5 years at this point? God, really? Jeez. Where I'm not trying to necessarily grind for the highest rank every season anymore. You know, I love Yu-Gi-Oh! Don't get me wrong. Obviously, I'm still uploading Master Duel content every day, so I'm still playing and keeping up with the game more than enough to be able to do that, but yeah, as far as like reaching rating duels every season, I'm just like, I could play like a different game instead. Or like, you know, read a book, spend time with my partner, etc. Anyway. So here we're going to go for the Mitsurugi Ritual, and we are going to have to play under our own Shifter. But for Mitsurugi, that's not a problem. For Ryzeal, it is more of a problem, and as a result, you don't really get to do Ryzeal stuff on the turn you resolve Shifter, but that's just an example of like, oh no, you can't have your cake and eat it too, right? Like, darn, you mean I don't get to summon out Detonator on top of my opponent having to banish everything and essentially skip their turn? Poor me. It does, however, mean we're going to have a harder time OTKing, so I don't think we're actually going to be able to find lethal on this board. Oh, and you know why? It's because we had to use prayers so early. Because if we go back here, right, I was kind of talking over this, but yeah, so we began our turn with pre-prep, which they Ash Blossomed, so then I had to use prayers to get to Habakiri. If I still had access to prayers, then I'd have an extra body, and even though that monster I revived can't attack directly itself, I feel like that should have been enough for me to be able to find lethal. Maybe not. But yeah, unfortunately, just having your 3 Mitsurugi Ritual monsters is 400 damage shy of lethal. And yeah, I'm not able to find the extra 400 here. I'm gonna have to set 2 and then pass. Granted, they're 2 pretty good face down cards. I feel really confident going into my opponent's turn here. Gonna use the Great Purification, actually. on the Stratos. They're going to chain Droplet, but sending away Stratos here doesn't really, you know, stop the Great Purification from negating it. So now they're at a point where they only have 2 cards left. I can Ash Blossom 1 and Murakumo the other, hopefully. Yep, Fusion Destiny can in fact be negated by Ash Blossom, meaning, yeah, it no longer matters what their last card is. Even if it's like the card that could save them, Murakumo can just negate it. So, yeah, very brutal, resolving both Shifter and Droll against Hero. Not really a lot they can do in that scenario. Don't blame my opponent for conceding here. Let's go into our next replay. All right, we're going first against Radiant Typhoon this time. So let's see what kind of a hand we open here. Okay, we have a bunch of Ryzeal starters. So looks like this game we're going to be going Ryzeal into Mitsurugi. Unlike that first game where we went Mitsurugi into Ryzeal. So Ice for Sword, Sword for Ext. Going to pitch the Aggregator, and then we're going to overlay for King of the Feral Imps. Yeah, I summoned Ext there because I was like, oh, I can get a search, but then I was like, oh yeah, I already have my Node Ryzeal in hand. If you didn't have Node Ryzeal in hand, that would be correct, because you need to get the Ext search before you start putting monsters on the board that aren't level or rank 4. But yeah, here I should have held it, again, because I was already holding the Node Ryzeal in hand, but yeah, it's pretty obvious. We use our Ryzeal stuff to go into King of the Feral Imps, and then that adds Habakiri, and then we can do Mitsurugi stuff. But we also do still get to do more Ryzeal stuff here later as well. But we're going to do our Mitsurugi line first. Alright, there goes the Habakiri. Here comes the Murakumo. Or sorry, no, Futsu no Mitama, because we're summoning from deck, right? That is something you kind of have to keep track of. Sometimes it's easy to lose track of, like, you know, oh, I still have both Murakumo and Futsu no Mitama in deck, but I don't actually have the ability to summon both of them. Just the one. You need to make sure you're searching at least one of them. Yeah, here we get, like, all the Mitsurugi fixins. We got the Prayers, we got the Magatama, we got the Great Purification. We're going to get to set all of these cards going into our opponent's turn. Got a Bonfire for the Ice Ryzeal. Going for the Dugaris. And if you'll notice, I actually used the Ice Ryzeal to send away the Habakiri that was in play. I was doing a little bit too well. I should have summoned King of the Feral Imps to the extra monster zone to avoid having to do that, but it's not that big of a deal. Although, I do miss out on a disruption because of it, don't I? Because if King of the Feral Imps was in the EMZ and I had the extra spot to play the Ice Ryzeal, then I would have gotten to keep the Habakiri. Wait, shouldn't I just... I think I misplayed here. Shouldn't I have just... because I still have Dragalucian, yeah, and Hope Harbinger in here. Shouldn't I have just gone Habakiri plus Murakumo? Oh, but I can't because the Ryzeals lock you into rank 4. That's why I didn't do it. That makes more sense now. Okay. Anyway, we're going to make Eclipse Twins and then send it with Node. That not only lets us get the body back on board, a Dugaris in this case, but more importantly, when we go into Ryzeal Detonator, the Detonator can pick up the Eclipse Twins as a material, and then basically, now if the opponent sends the Detonator to the graveyard, then the Eclipse Twins can revive it, and then it can attach the Aggregator as a material. Or if my Detonator's down to its last material, like let's say I pop 2 cards and detach these 2, I could, if I wanted to, activate Detonator, send Eclipse Twins, pop itself, Eclipse Twins, revive Detonator, and then Detonator picks up the Aggregator as a material when it gets resummoned. Now, on top of the fact that Eclipse Twins would also give it a material. Now, granted, in order to do that, I would need to have these in the graveyard, these rank 4s here. So reviving with Eclipse Twins probably wasn't just the best idea there, but again, it got us an extra body. So when you're reviving Duo Drive, it makes a lot more sense because Duo Drive actually buffs your board and debuffs your opponents. Here, the Dugaris form material doesn't really do anything for me, so I probably should have just left it in the graveyard. Okay, they're going to use MST on the face down Great Purification, then chain another MST on the Magatama. So now I can use Great Purification to negate the second MST to protect my Magatama. So I'm actually very glad they chained the second MST there. That was really, really good for me. At first, when I used MST on the Great Purification, I was like, oh crap, that's really bad. But no, it actually ended up working out really well there. Okay, so I'm going to summon out the Crocea. Whereas I'm going to use Mirror and then summon back the Murakumo. Alright, now they're going to activate Crocea. You know, this was another little misplay I think I made here. I should have not activated Murakumo and used Detonator to pop instead, because it's only one card. And I could, in theory... Well, but Murakumo can't summon itself. Oh, but Prayers could summon Murakumo. So I could still get the board wipe later if I wanted to. Yeah, I probably should have done it that way. They're going to use their third MST to finally pop the Magatama. They're going to activate Vision, adding back MST. That's fine with me. I don't really care about that. If they want to pop my Prayers, they can do so. We're going to chain, tributing the Habakiri, and getting our Search plus Revive. Going to search out a Murakumo, revive Kusanagi. Now Habakiri revives, and Kusanagi gets to activate, getting back the Prayers. And adding another ritual, because why not? Okay. So now they're going to go for Eldum. I activated Detonator here to pop, which looks a little bit weird, but I wanted to make sure they didn't have enough bodies on board to start like making a rank 3 or linking into stuff. Now here they're going to add Meghala, which is totally fine with me. They're going to go Swen for Vision, then summon Meghala, then activate Vision. But now I can just use Detonator, pop Meghala, and now she won't get a chance to summon a Radiant Typhoon monster because her effect activates after a quick play spell has resolved, so not on the same chain link. Yep, my opponent's going to have to set one card and then pass. Again, very glad I popped that Eldum because now they can't link or overlay. Our draw phase is skipped, but it doesn't really matter. They're going to try to activate Vision. I'm going to chain the Murakumo. They're going to chain their own Max C. And then I'm going to activate Great Purification to get around that. And they're going to concede, knowing that I'll have more than enough bodies to finish them off. All right. That was the games I had for you there. Let's go into the deck build now, and I'll show you Nightfall's list. Okay, so here's the list. Again, it's from Nightfall TCG, who made top 10 in rating duels last season with this exact list card for card. And I really like it. I think most notable thing here for me is that the only Link monster we're playing is Dynamundo. We don't have IP and SP Little Knight here, and it looks like that was to make more room for more rank 4s like the full armored Utopic Ray Lancer, as well as the Dragalucian engine as well, with the number 38 Hope Harbinger. Usually, when I go for a rank 8, I was going for the number 90, but obviously the ability to pivot from Ryzeal, from Mitsurugi into Ryzeal off the Dragalucian while still getting a spell negate with the Hope Harbinger does end up being quite strong. I still wouldn't necessarily mind having number 90 in this extra deck, but also, I'm not out here getting top 10 in rating duels, so what do I know, right? No, yeah, I really like the ratios here for off engine to engine. The two droplets are really, really nice, actually. Board breakers are super good in this meta against Cool Tune and Elf Note and various other decks, so definitely really like having the board breaker option. This deck does not really have the extra room to play Super Poly, but I think droplet is more than good enough here. Yeah, I mean, it's just a really, really solid list. I don't know if I have a ton else to say about it. Again, if it were me, I would have probably automatically thrown in the IP and SP, but I also really like not including them here. That said, like, I don't know. Again, I'm not grinding this deck on rating duels, so I don't know how often stuff like Light Dragon and Utopic Ray Lancer comes up. Utopic Ray Lancer I could actually see coming up quite a bit for OT King. Really, Light Dragon at Ignister I feel like is the one for me where probably just never could have summoned this, but And also, if you're building this deck and you're wondering which URs are, optional, I would definitely say Light Dragon Adagnister is extremely optional for sure. But yeah, definitely a really, really good list for a really good deck, and I think Ryzeal Mitsurugi is still just one of my favorite decks to play in the current meta. Just really flexible, while being really strong at the same time. I love being able to start with either engine and go into the other. All in all, just a really, really fun and good deck. But I think it's about going to do it for now. Thank you, as always, for watching. Super appreciate you watching to the end, of course. And speaking of the end, we're going to wrap up with our outro so we can thank our YouTube members and Patreon subscribers. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which, by the way, is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.